Okay.
Right, thank you then. So our meeting 9th of February. Apologies for absence, and Emma.
I've had apologies. Well, we've got the apologies from Roy, but I haven't got any others, so that's all.
Okay then. Right, we're happy to accept that. Yes. Okay
Yeah.
then. Right, declaration of interests. I couldn't see anything for myself, but anybody else? No. Okay. Representation from interested parties, Emma?
Nothing.
No, nothing. Right. And then consideration of requests. I see nothing there as well. So the minutes of the previous meeting, just a double check on who was there, and I'll get the right ones in front of me. So there was myself, David, Jerry, and Malcolm, the last one. So David and Jerry, have you got anything you want to add or take off those?
No, quite happy to propose.
Okay. All right, so David's proposed them. I'll second them. And all those in favour? That's fine. Okay. So they're signed and ready to go with the others I forgot to give you the other day, Emma.
It's okay. Thank you.
Lovely. Right. So we received the monthly accounts for January 2021. Yeah. So I'm just trying to get the right one up in front of me now.
I've had a look. There's nothing that jumped out at me.
Yeah, nothing I could see in there. I did like the savings that were down against the hub. Though that apparent saving against the hub doesn't actually reflect the wages that we paid, year to date, does it?
Well, the JRS money was just contrary against what we've paid.
Yeah. So, but we still paid 20%, didn't we, wages, and we must have paid at least a month. No, sorry, we wouldn't have paid anything year to date other than the top up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were on furlough.
Yeah. I haven't got the document open in front of me, but did he say that we spent 0 on the hub year to date?
Well, in terms of expenditure,
Yes.
the expenditure was just under 1,700 quid.
Ah, okay, right.
Even
Sorry,
£17,000, I thought.
No. Well, the staff was 15,008, but there was another £1,700 in costs, which were
Costs in the hub, yeah.
coffee machine rental, the EPOS machine, credit card charges, which have all been cancelled now.
Yeah. Okay then. Yeah. It's the just swing this document around again. Yeah. So what I'm looking at then, I'm looking at page 2 of the document, and on page 2, it says that. Oh, sorry, it's only an income statement. That's right. So it's not an expenditure. Is that correct?
Yeah. No, you've got everything there.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm looking at the first line. It says income the hub.
So I'm looking at a different thing.
The hub income, and then as you go along, there isn't anything.
Yeah. So there's no.
There was no income, no.
There's no
Right.
income. No.
Because we shut before the end of March.
Yeah,
didn't we?
that's right.
Yeah, we
Okay,
shut
this
in
is-
March and never opened.
Yeah, so it was only an income statement. Right, I've got it. I'm
But
understanding it now.
Underneath that, there's the expenditure, and that's 17,000 quid.
Yeah,
That covers for you've got hub staff and the effective costs for the hub. So there's 15,008 for the staff and about
Yeah.
£1,700 for expenses.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sorry, I wasn't going down far enough. That's
Yeah.
fine. Anybody else got anything on the document that concerns them? Oh,
On the aged debtors, we've not had any luck with, I can't find it, Oracultro,
yeah.
still an amount outstanding. Are you happy for that to be written off as a bad debt?
I
We're
personally,
not happy, but
yeah, it wasn't a massive number anymore, was it? So personally, I think we should do rather than just keep it there. Anybody
Yeah.
got any contrary views?
certainly not take it over the end of the year.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm happy to write that off. Okay, so that's just the receiving those, and we don't need to vote
Yeah.
on anything there, do we?
No.
All right, receive the internal control document. So, hang on.
These are the sort of 3 financial policies that we have to review each year as part of our audit.
Yeah.
What I've highlighted in red on the first page, well, the first thing is taking out the hub or any reference to the hub,
Yes.
because we don't need that now. But we've got where it says 2 councillors who are not check signatories are elected at the annual meeting of the council as verification officers. We're not in that situation at the moment because of sort of lack of, well, the verification councillors, Malcolm didn't want to do it anymore and Terry resigned.
Yeah.
And we're sort of stuck in a situation where Jerry is doing it throughout this lockdown period, but he is a signatory and he needs to stay as a signatory until we move to the Unity Trust Bank.
Right.
Not actually following that, but it may be that you might want to leave it in because when we have our next annual meeting, it might all change.
Yeah. Go on, Jerry.
I was going to make a suggestion that we pass a resolution. I don't know if it needs to be full council, that we suspend that point during the current situation because of lack of willing volunteers, and that the councillor who is willing to do the controls continues doing it until the end of this financial year, and then we'll see where we are in the new year.
So we get that on full council next week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, you happy with that, Emma?
Yeah.
Right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Am I here?
Yeah.
Right,
You are there.
I've had to come in on the phone because for some reason my laptop's not picking it up. I don't know.
Okay.
We can see you and hear you, Malcolm.
Oh, that's a shame.
Just
Okay.
behave yourself.
I missed the exciting bits. Go on.
No, so you got up to where we are. So we're just looking now at the control document.
No, I haven't.
Risk assessment and financial management.
Okay. I've got nothing to say on that at all. I read it.
Right. Okay. There was a few references in here that got me a little bit, and just in terms of titles. We've got staff to ensure, that wasn't too bad. And then we got members, which are members of the council, aren't they?
So are we still in the internal control policy?
Yes.
All that.
Excuse me.
Yes.
On one of these documents, I'm not sure what it was. It said we should have been issued with a good counsellor guide or something, which I've never had.
You should have had one when you first became a councillor.
No, I don't think I got one. That's probably why I am.
Big booklet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sort of booklet. I've got a PDF of it. I'll send you one.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I can't find what I was talking about, but it was only a technicality in terms of some of the terminologies used. The other sectors in red, then, Emma, just going back down. Is there anything else that we need to take action on?
The only one in the internal control policy is removing of the hub, and then obviously we've now decided what to do with the other one. So with regards to the internal policy, control policy, that's all I've got in that one.
Okay.
Happy for that to go forward.
Yes. Well, I am. Is anybody, Jerry? You want to say
I was going to say, I know it's a bit of extra work, but would it be helpful to number up the paragraphs so you can then refer to the?
Well, on number them.
Yeah, I mean, if it's more hassle than it's worth, Emma, I'm not precious
What, instead
about
of
it.
the little round circles?
Yeah, if you had, one paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and then you're in 3, aren't you? So it'd be 3.7 or something, wouldn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 3.8. You could refer to paragraph 3.8, couldn't you?
Yeah,
And then,
sure. Yeah, do
if
that.
it helps. It's
And-
not.
Yeah, and David?
Well, I might have missed it, but I can't see any reference within the internal control policy to our associated financial regulations. It says we should comply with our standing orders, but I'm just wondering whether we should also say within the internal control policy that we'll comply with our financial regulations, which is a separate document.
Yeah, it does. It does on particular items, because where we've got online banking, it says referred to financial regulations 6, and then about petty cash, it says refer to the regulations.
I wonder
Whether
whether
you want it,
under that bit that says standing orders and it says we'll abide by, whether we should just make it standing orders and financial regulations and then just say we'll abide by both. Not alter the other bits, but just add that in there. Just
yeah.
clarity.
At the top of financial assessments, it said the council. It says the council model financial regulations as set out by the National Association.
So it does. I did miss that. No, just ignore me. I've missed it.
Is that okay to leave
Yeah,
that?
no, that's fine. That was me. I didn't spot that bit.
Okay. But other than that, I'll just number it up differently, and we'll just make a note on the council meeting for the signatures.
Sorry, Emma, just to pick up on one other one then, and I'm not sure how they do it, but we've got under property that the Estate Management Committee will annually physically check to ensure all its property and areas of responsibility are in a good state of repair. I mean, they're not going to get on the roofs or anything like that, are they? I mean, you know, is that what line not asking a bit too much?
No, but it is sort of part of the annual walkabout. I know there wasn't one last year, but normally there is a walkabout within the year, and the buildings are all looked at and things are pointed out. So
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I
you're
suppose
not
we could
gonna
add
get on
in the
the
words without leaving the ground or something. But it's excessive.
or hang on a minute, where are we?
We could hire a helicopter.
Yeah, but yeah, I think the
Council
committee,
drone.
yeah, the committee should have a process to ensure that they're in good state of repair, and that doesn't mean them physically having to do it themselves.
Can
Yeah,
I,
Peter.
yeah. Firstly, yeah, we do have a walk around. We
Yeah.
couldn't this year, obviously, because of the present circumstances. Also, I'm, as you know, next door to John and Nobby, and if there's anything goes wrong in any of the units, I think if Emma's not at work, I normally get the inside information about 7:30 in the morning. And by 10 o'clock, either Emma knows or John's fixed it.
Yeah.
Is that not right, Emma?
Yeah, do you want physically taken out? Maybe if you've not got physically written in there,
Well, all I feel is that they need a process to ensure that we have, you know, this check. Yeah,
there is.
even if you
That-
say it's in general state, a good state of repairs.
I mean, obviously it's maintained and inspected weekly by John, but once a year the committee does take out a proper checklist, and they go round to cemetery everywhere and go through the checklist and look. So there is a process that
Yeah.
the Estates Committee does follow.
All right.
Physically does seem a bit of a strange
Yeah,
word.
I think maybe if we take
I would have said a
physically.
visual inspection or something. I would have
Yeah.
said rather than.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll carry out a visual inspection.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Right, we're happy with that one then. We're into the financial risk assessment. So this is the one that's got the a lot more sections in it, isn't it? But again, just on general things, is anybody got any input or concerns on this one?
Yeah, again, this is mostly taking out the hub stuff.
Yeah.
And then also, I didn't feel that it was, we were explaining about the online payments well, so that's why I've added in some little bits for that as well.
Yeah, okay.
It was more about cheque payments, but we don't do any of them now.
Right, anybody else got any input or observations? No. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of detail on here, and whether it catches anything. Oh, there was something about the unauthorized use of the card details secured by 2 passwords, and then staff to ensure computer is password protected. The 3 sort of boxes don't seem to tie up totally. Yeah, what's the card got to do with the computer?
It's if you've got online payments. So if you're paying through Amazon or somewhere like that, it stores your card details. So you've got password protections on the computer and also into the Amazon or wherever.
Okay, so logging on the computer is the first
Yeah.
protection, and then the Amazon account is the other. Right, I understand. Yep, okay. Right, RFO is Paul. Yeah.
The RFO's me.
Oh, you're the RFO, are you?
Paul is the FO.
That's very cruel. Yeah, okay. All right, so are we all happy with that then?
You're okay for that one to go forward as is? And obviously I'll
Yeah.
take the red out.
Yep.
Okay.
And then review the effectiveness of the internal audit review document. That is a double statement there, isn't it? So we're reviewing the effectiveness of a document.
Well, this is the document, but it's the internal audit. So it's basically you're looking at what happens within the internal audit that we have from Northants Calc.
Right.
You're happy with it?
Okay. My gut feel is to say, yes, I am happy with it. Anybody else got a problem?
No.
Okay. Right. Okay, so that's all those are reviewed and carry on.
And they're ready to go forward for the full council for approval.
Yep. Right. Receive an update of the transfer of the council bank accounts. How's this wonderful one going?
Well, the bank account's open. Paul, myself and Jerry, we've logged on and we can get online. I don't know whether you've done that, David.
Didn't even realise I was supposed to try.
Have you received a letter with your password and?
No,
Right,
no, I don't think I've had that yet.
I'll chase that up because we all had ours
I did it a while ago, yeah.
last week.
Really?
I think we all had it on the same day.
I don't
Thanks,
think I had anything like that. I did get some letters from them, but I don't think it did that.
You would have had a couple of letters, I think.
I had a kind of couple of acknowledgement type
Yeah,
letters.
saying that the accounts were open, and then we got a third letter that's got a password and a username for you to then log in. Tells you what to do.
I don't think I've seen that.
Okay, I'll contact them.
Have you checked with Anne, David?
Well, I will just double check, but normally everything like that ends up going to me and upstairs for filing in my office
Yeah.
somewhere.
It looks like that.
There's a little pull off bit with a password underneath it.
No,
Okay,
I'm absolutely
I'll-
sure I haven't had that.
I'll give them a ring tomorrow. The switching of the accounts from Barclays to Unity Trust. Unity Trust have received them now, and the switch will have taken place by the 22nd of this month. And then the next part of the item on the agenda, they don't have debit card. They have what's called a multi-pay card, which works the same as a debit card, but we've just got to set some limits on it. A monthly spend limit you can set, and also a maximum for one transaction you can set, which I thought we could perhaps do that tonight. But Paul, have you got an idea of what we currently spend on the debit card?
Generally about, it can be a lot of money on the debit card.
On a sort of average?
It's generally about £1,000 or so. It can be up to £1,000, but more recently it's been obviously less than that, less than 500 quid.
Yeah.
Okay, Peter?
I was going to say, you know, let's set it at a sensible amount, say 1,500, 2,000.
Well, if you set it at the amount, Emma, that aligns with what your authority is without us, it sounds sensible, doesn't it?
Well, I can only do 500, and it's an absolute emergency. I was thinking for a single transaction, we might do a maximum of 500.
Yeah.
Up to what I can spend, but it's the monthly amount really.
You want it?
1,500 is more than enough.
Yeah, Jerry?
Yeah, I was going to say, I would agree with what Peter just said, is that you want to make sure it's a maximum that you're ever going to need, because you don't want to start messing around. So 1,500 or 2,000 even, because
I'd be quite happy with that, Emma. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because you know, we put a lower number. It sounds like we don't trust you. You know. Yeah, so straight up. You know, if you think about what happened, you know, with the boilers at the UVH and the courthouse, you know, even
quite a few of the things that we've had to purchase over the last 12 months have been sort of COVID related things. I mean, the good thing about that is quite a lot of that we've had money back for East Northants Council, but we would have had a couple of months where we did have to spend quite a bit in one go.
Yeah.
Last 2 months have been less than 200 quid, but then in October it was 2,300.
Yeah. So we set it at 2,000.
So the monthly is 2,000. Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
The maximum single of 500.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And then that's us done with Barclays, is it?
Well, I think so. I mean, I daren't say too much because it seems to be going quite smoothly.
Yeah. No, so it's very sad, you know, when you think of, you know, where we were a couple of years ago. We're so happy we were going to Barclays.
Yeah.
You know, and
but it just never worked out to be what we thought it was going to be. So we've never really been able to sort of have the proper authority and signatories that we have. So this way we will do. Yeah.
Okay. Very good then.
Okay.
Right, and then the final one, review the rent payments, and thank you, Malcolm, for pointing out how difficult it was to read the bits in red. Yeah, I did. It doesn't matter what you zoomed them up to, I couldn't get them.
It wasn't just me and my old eyes, then it's everybody.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got the Excel document now that we can actually go through those.
I noticed we got one of them for a room to be rented to ENC. Well, I thought ENC wasn't going to exist.
Well, there is going to be. It was the old police room in Fletton House.
That's right.
They were going to move in last year, but then obviously with everything, you know, with pandemic, they've never really moved in. But we do think there will be some form of customer service base, even with the move to the north, you know, street. But we might just have to wait and see on that.
Okay.
Right. So around the table, does anybody want to take this on? Any particular bits of it you're interested in?
Can I mention one bit at the start?
Yes, Paul.
From your budgets, you've probably seen anyway. I mean, the hub's 61,000 down, which is probably an irrelevance. Fletton House room hire is 21,000 down. Courthouse tenants is 2,300 down, and that's been renewed by the school. And the markets are down by about 15,000. That puts into context of what you plan to do with courthouse tenants.
I think most of that though is COVID related, isn't it, Paul?
Yeah,
I mean, you know, the markets and
Yeah, at
Fletton
all.
House especially. There's
Yeah.
not a lot we can do about that at the moment.
No, but I was just saying, put that into the context of whatever you're deciding to do with courthouse tenants.
Yeah.
Can I ask how many courthouse tenants have actually brought this up?
One.
One, okay.
David?
Which
Whilst I have a degree of sympathy for any tenant who's struggling, it's perhaps fair to say that the council itself is facing its own challenges because of lack of income from various sources. And I'm just wary of the fact that here we are, a couple of meetings away from an election whereby we'll have a new council in place. And I'm not really in favour of making any decisions of this kind this late in our year. And I think if this issue is to be addressed, it should be addressed in or after May by whatever the new council might be, rather than us making a decision here tonight. That's my own
very
view.
sensible, David. Yeah, Peter?
Well, I tend to agree with David. I don't think we should reduce our rents at all. I mean, you know, I live in the business world. My 3 units are rented. They're not going to give me a discount, and I know that they're not going to give you a discount. That's Oundle Council I'm talking about, because the landlords won't let it happen. And you know, there's only one landlord I know in the whole of Oundle that's actually given a discount to a tenant in a commercial premises. Nobody else has.
No. Okay. Anybody got any views to the contrary?
No,
Malcolm?
not at all.
No.
Not
Okay. All right. So I think Emma, you've heard the conversation. We're very much about staying where we are at the moment. Yes, it needs some diplomatic words putting around it. You know, and I wouldn't want to leave them with the thought that there's going to be a review of the situation after the new council is elected.
No, I think we've probably got to, it's got to be a decision that we make now.
Yeah.
That,
Stick to it.
yeah, we've
The
reviewed
other
it.
thing, sorry, Emma, I didn't want to talk over you. The other thing you've got to realise is that they're all entitled to grants, not loans, grants. They don't have to pay it back. Now, that means that all the tenants in the courthouse that cannot trade at the moment will get £9,000. Now, they had £10,000 in March, because I know I got it, and they're going to get £9,000 this time as well.
Yes.
You know, so I don't see why we should subsidise any more than the grants that they're being given for free.
Yeah. Okay. Emma?
I think the ones that are closed because they can't open, they haven't said anything. I think it's one of the ones where they are working from home at the moment, that they're still having to pay their rent, and I think they're not. I don't think they're asking for a lot, but they just want, I don't know, whether it's a goodwill gesture from us.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the conversation is very much that we want to keep it the way it is now. Malcolm?
No, I agree. Just keep it the way it is. I mean, they're still generating income. They've still got premises there, which they're going to move back into. So, and they get grants, as Peter says. So, no, I don't think so. Just leave it as it is.
All right. Just on the technicality, but we've got Oundle School as the tenant. Is it Oundle School or their catering company?
It's their catering company.
Yeah, it's not Oundle School, the tenant.
No.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're done with that one. Other business for report only. Just going around the table. Well, Emma first then. Nothing from yourself. Paul? No. Jerry?
No.
No. Peter?
Yes. I keep harking on about this at the estates meeting, and I'm going to bring it up again at the finance meeting. We have a serious problem, as you know, with getting the rugby club back in our hands. And at the moment, ENC are insisting that they own it. Now, there's no proof. They're not giving us any proof We should be actually trying to get proof on this along with the tennis club and the bowls club. The financial implications, as I see it, is that if we don't get this thing sorted, we've been taking rent from the rugby club. I think it's 20 or 25 years now. They could actually either sue us and get the money back because we don't own the club, or perversely, ENC or the new Unitary Council could actually ask us for their money back from the rent that we've had from there. And we don't seem to be moving further forward, and I think we need to sort of get that financially sorted as soon as we can.
Yeah, Emma.
At least there is speaking to our solicitor at the moment. The
Right.
situation we're in is East Northants Council have registered and did so in 2001, the land where the car park and the rugby pitch is. We have registered where the rugby club and the car park is. We have registered where the rugby pitch is. Bowls club, tennis club aren't registered. We need statements of truth that we can take to our solicitor so we can register the unregistered land. But I'm not quite sure what we can do about the land that's registered to East Northants Council.
Okay. So are we allowed to talk about this for a few minutes? Because we're down
Yeah.
into, yeah. So just on what I understand of it, we had the letter back from the solicitor asking us whether we wanted to contest it on the basis that we've been on there for over the 10 or 12 year, whatever that period is. Therefore, we've had it in our ownership for that period of time, or whether we wanted to go back and say we've lost the documents. So I know, David, that Emma had passed that to you at some point, and we just need to get on with one or the other of them, don't we?
I'm not even sure if they're necessarily mutually exclusive, but certainly I'm still struggling to see quite the basis on which ENC ever managed to register themselves as the owners of that.
Yeah.
And I haven't managed to get to the bottom of how they did it. Which I suppose actually ought to be the start point. But there's absolutely no doubt. I mean, I've been on the council since 1986, and certainly throughout that entire period, my understanding was that we clearly owned all of that land, treated it as such, everybody treated it as such. Mm-hmm. And quite how ENC came along and under our noses and without our knowledge registered themselves as owners of part of our land, and then did precisely nothing to assert their ownership is very odd.
Yeah.
I think all we can probably do is be guided by our own solicitors as to what they consider the best way of attacking it. But you know, I can certainly provide statements as to the truth of what I've just said. What I couldn't find, although I hope that somewhere within all the paperwork that I've accumulated over the years, I thought I might possibly even have copies of certain documents, but I have to confess I didn't find anything that proved our ownership of the land in question. Other than the fact that if the rugby club negotiated with us as it did, one would have thought that it had to be satisfied that we owned it, which suggests that we produced something to them to satisfy them of that. What I'm not sure is what was it that we produced to them, and do they themselves have any copies of what they were working on from the time? Because the very first fundamental as a tenant is to make sure that the person who purports to be letting it to you actually is entitled to it. And they must have been satisfied that we were, and I don't think they'd have just taken our word for it. They'd have asked for some form of evidence, and I can't help but feeling it must have been produced.
Yeah. So Emma, you wanted to say something?
What I think is because it was so long ago, the last lease, it may have been that you didn't need land registry documents then, so it may have been something else.
It probably wasn't.
Yeah.
But because it may very well have predated
the
compulsory registration, which was 89. But in terms of trying to let unregistered land, and of course there's still some land that is unregistered because it hasn't changed hands since prior to 1989, for example. You would then produce your deeds to show your ownership of it, which again suggests that something was produced to the rugby club
Mhm.
to show them that we owned it. And my guess is that actually it got lost at the solicitors, or potentially it never got, it wasn't there and it was mislaid within the council somewhere or somehow. But quite how, I don't know. I mean, my instinct would be, if it hadn't been registered by ENC, I'd have said it's a no-brainer. We just seek to register ourselves with possessory title on the basis that we've lost the deeds, but we can show that for the last 30 plus years, we've treated it as our own, we've rented it out, people have accepted it, nobody sought to challenge it, etc., etc. The spanner in the works is the fact that somehow, miraculously, ENC got themselves registered to it.
I don't actually think they knew that they were registered, because they've granted planning permission for us to build a workshop on there when we were saying it was our land, and for the rugby club to have built their club on there. So I don't think they realised. So whether they did a job lot of registering things in 2001, and that just happened to get mixed up in it. They've told us that they haven't got anything to prove it. There isn't anything at Land Registry, but Lisa is speaking to our solicitor, and they are going through a few things that we can do. So the solicitor is working on it, and Lisa is working with him.
All right. So I think it's a thing about pace now, isn't it? That we need to move on fairly rapidly. You know, and certainly we need to secure the bowling and the tennis club grounds, and any other ground on that area that we haven't already got the documents for, and then the rugby club itself, either in the same time frame or very shortly after. But you know, as David said, you know, we'll take the solicitor advice on it. You know, either to make both claims. We know that we've been taking rent on it, and nobody has contested that. You know,
I think we've got a good. I mean, well, I don't know, but it seems like we should have a good case. You know.
Yes. Yeah. So we've been, and then the lost document one, that its original registration was not ill-founded. So Emma, can you sort of get the pace going a bit on this one?
Yeah, no, I can do. Yeah, I mean, Lisa and I speak regularly about it, and she keeps me in the loop with it. We were only talking about it last week, and she was speaking to the solicitor then, and he was going to go away and look at what we can do.
Okay. I don't know whether my screen has jiggled, but moving on to David. Anything else that you wanted on?
No, nothing I can think of.
Okay. I know you mentioned the response that we must discuss at the full council meeting to the ENC local plan 2.
Yeah, I've already started drafting something, which, all being well, I will circulate prior to the meeting.
All right.
But there are going to be one or two things we actually have to make some decisions about.
Okay. Now, if you get that to me, I can fill in gaps and things. Very good. Emma again.
Sorry, can I just go back on that one?
Yeah.
Do you still want to have on the full council that you're going to discuss it in planning and then bring it back to the March meeting?
No, I think we just go straight into the full council.
Go straight to full council,
Go to full council. I suspect that what they will say is move it to planning, because in reality it probably says move it to me. And then planning will then make recommendations back to full council, because there will be time enough, I think, to do that before the close of the consultation.
Okay.
So I don't think we have to make a decision this month in full council. I think it will be in time to do it at full council next month.
We will this day, because it's
with perhaps planning having basically sorted it in the intervening period.
All right, Peter.
I think we just check the dates on that, David, because it's not far into March, is it?
Yeah, our date will be the 16th of March. The consultation's the 19th.
Yeah,
If we've got to get the public of Oundle involved well before then.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
can't leave
I
3
mean, I
days.
think in
Yeah.
terms of a response from the council, it may well be that individual councillors will want to respond, and I agree, we should encourage as many members of the public to participate in this consultation as we can.
Yeah. I believe Jake is doing a good job on getting the villages wound up as well.
He's doing all right.
Yeah.
I think there's
actually got
something
his- he's
going
got
in the
his
next
umps back.
advertiser as well.
Good, good. All right, Malcolm?
Going back to the rugby club, sorry to pick up. Do we need to put a deadline or some sort of incentive for the solicitors to come back to us, so we can have a formal document by the formal response by the next council meeting?
Well, it depends on what he comes back with.
Yeah, but if we don't,
Yeah, I know, but it's
Still
taking, we've been
So-
doing this for nearly 2 years anyway. It's been going, you know, he is, we are working on it.
Yeah.
If you
Is
put
that still with
deadline,
Coombs?
Yeah, and then, no, we're using Seaton's.
Thank God for that.
for 2 years, have we?
Yeah, it was first, yeah, when the rugby club came to us to renew their lease.
Well, crikey.
But you know, just on the point that Malcolm makes, you know, we haven't had 2 years of work from the solicitors on this.
No.
It's been going
No,
on for
it-
2 years. Yeah, so we do need to tell him that we really need to move this on quickly because it's quite dangerous at the moment.
Oh, yeah, well, we knew it's that dangerous 6, 7, 8 months ago.
Okay then. Right, just one other that I wanted to bring up then is the reference this garage on the recreation ground. You know, so we'll have to do it at full council, but just to make you aware, the garage sits there. They've got it up for sale. It's only a small plot of land. You can't do a fat lot with it. However, if we are interested, or a future council is interested in buying the piece of land that the current Spire Homes or whatever it's called own, then that piece of land could mess you up on your plans to build on it.
This is the half a dozen or so lock-up garages down there, yeah?
Well,
No, this is just
Lock-up
one
garage.
small one.
Yeah,
The
there's a
one
single
closest to
garage.
Picarthy,
Go on, David.
yeah, the garage that is closest to Picarthy physically, whose door opens front onto the road, it's
Right.
that one garage. It's not the various blocks. They're the ones that are owned by Spire Homes that some time ago I suggested we approach them and saw if we might potentially obtain them, but they weren't interested at that point. But they've done absolutely nothing with them since, and it's probably something we should revisit with them sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
But Tony's right. It may well be that if we owned this one and were able to acquire the others, it might increase the scope for what we could do. It's a bit speculative, but it's certainly something we should look at.
Yeah, Peter.
I would basically approve. I would say we definitely need to buy it because the only other people that would be interested in that is Picarthy. Picarthy would want it because they now already use a triangle of land there to park cars, which is not belonging to those. But as we are discussing the rugby club and the tennis club, if they get to the point where they've had it for a number of years, they could actually say, this belongs to us now. And with that one garage, they'd have even more a strength and claim to it.
Yeah. Okay, so we need to discuss this at full council. So can
Yeah,
we
I've
get
got it on the agenda.
And Emma, could you also tell them though we are interested and when we will be discussing it?
Yeah. Have you spoken to anybody? I saw
I only wrote the email to them.
to
saying-
property search.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So I'll. Was there a name on there to speak to, or was it?
Yeah, it is on the email. The
Right,
name.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's just very disappointing, that if ENC had just handed this piece of land over to us, they would have saved their estate
Yeah.
agent fees, so saved the legal costs. There's not going to be much left out of 13 grand by the time they've done it.
But it's the same with those where those derelict garages are.
Mm.
I don't know whether Spire Homes or it's Longhurst Group now are going to do anything with that. But you know, if it would, we could make use of it.
Yes. No, it is, you know, hopefully with them we can reopen it and new bunch of people. David.
It's just a bizarre thought, but can you declare a derelict garage an asset of community value?
If you do that though, it takes you about 8 weeks. You have to log on and
Well, I appreciate
fill in an
it, but then it
application.
stop them disposing of it to anybody else behind our back, so to speak.
Yeah, the problem is they're going to complete the sale before.
Yeah, before we get there. That happened with the land on near the on
Yeah,
Not
the
all of
Park
those
Road.
do.
building. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know,
it's just a thought.
essentially it's the money that we've saved on the hub we could put into this. Okay, so for the agenda, but if you can tell them that we're interested.
Yeah, will do. Yeah.
All right. Anything else from anybody? No. Have they now capped the stream on New Road, or are they tapping it and selling the water?
No, it's still wonderful. We have this nicely new surfaced road covered in water from a mysterious leak.
Yeah, and as
It's been going on years.
Yeah.
it's been pointed out, it's alongside Springfield Road, isn't it? They should have known it was in the name.
Yes, there might be something in that.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We'll do this again next week.
Yeah.
No, right, it'll be the council meeting next week.
Yeah. Okay then. Thanks very
Okay.
much.
Thanks a lot then.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.